No people come to Jamaica and no know how we live things. Say everything nice too, we full of vibes and things. Them say one feel it to them heart when them get few understand the real thing. Yeah. Me day at town one day, I part with a white man will come all the way from Norway. And him turn to me and say, how comes Jamaica full of so much screw face? Same time I lift me head to the sky, and a teardrop fall from me high. Me say, man, you come and go out for a drive. Let me show you why me cry. Look on the gully side. Do you see anything to smile about? Look at that hungry child, yeah. Do you see anything to smile about? Look at the school where you them not forget them education. Do you see anything to smile about? Look at the conditions of our police stations. Do you see anything to smile about? No.
Welcome back to another show.
How can the nation be living this way? And the next thing him say, how can the government place
listen every Thursday at 8 p.m.
fall to the ground? Cause there's much more where that comes from. Certain places they are worse than some. Youth man come and take a look on River Town. Do you see anything to smile about? Look on Pienland.
It's your favorite cousins who inhale the good shit and exhale the bullshit about everything but the kitchen sink. And just in case we need to say it, we do not own the rights to the music that we play during tonight's show. Just jamming out, showing some love and appreciation to our culture.
Oh no, no, oh no, no. No one say, no people come to Jamaica and no know how we live things. Everything.
It's episode 3 of season 2.
Them someone feel it to them heart when them get the overstand the real thing when them look on the gully side.
Do you see anything to smile about?
Them look on a hungry child, yeah.
Do you see anything to smile about?
When them look on the schools, when the youth them don't forget them education.
Do you see anything to smile about?
When them sight up the condition of the police station, they not see none there to smile about.
Rishi.
Welcome, welcome.
You hear me, Vish?
Yep.
Comes Jamaica full of summer school face. Same time I lift me head to the sky, and a teardrop fall from me high. You say my youth come without for a drive. Let me show you why me cry. Take a look on River Town.
So welcome back. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, this is the Cousins and BS podcast. I am Cousin Smishy V, your self-proclaimed whiskey connoisseur, and of course, the cousin that says whatever the heck is on her mind. Joining me tonight is also Cousin Red, aka Mr. Fix-It, my co-host. Huge shout out for those of you who have been sharing and listening to our streams on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, and all the other platforms that our show is available on. So in case it wasn't clear earlier, we do not own the rights to the music that we'll be playing during our show tonight. We're just jamming out, showing some love and appreciation to our culture. Wagwan, cuz?
There. For the next year, how you steer?
Midday, it's cold as heck here. Oh my gosh. I'm ready to go home.
I hear it's snowing on your side.
Yeah, and it's supposed to again tomorrow, so we'll see how that
That's
goes.
very sexy in my opinion.
I can't deal with it, not even for a second. I'm a true island baby when it comes to that. How's the weather been on your side of
It's
the country?
miserable. It was cold for 2 days, and then it became Florida again. So
Okay.
I'm not happy.
Okay. You wanted it to stay cold?
Yes. At least a good 2 weeks, 50 degrees, 60 degrees.
Okay. Well, good. So, thank you all for tuning in tonight. So, as we were planning this week's episode, we had to stick a couple of pins into a couple of the topics that we really wanted to talk about for maybe a later episode because Lord have mercy upon your children. What the heck is happening in Jamaica right now? We're gonna need some help keeping up and hearing from you all about, how you're navigating the upsurge of the crime and the COVID and the lack of government concern and control that's happening on the island right now. Like every other news report and story is more outrageous than the one before. Like the headlines are starting to read like the Jamaican Star. Like, the Star is that one juicy newspaper where the stories and the sources are questionable, but you can't help but read it because the headline says something like, man steal a bully beef worth $2 million. And you start thinking like, how the heck is a bully beef worth $2 million? Until you start reading that it was like a whole container or a
It's
pallet or something. So
the star got good clickbait. I can't lie. I think they're a good follower.
I know, but I don't know if the subscription and the readership is as much as the clickbait. Like if you want to advertise something, like go to the Star. Like they grab your attention, but I don't think they keep it. But things have been ridiculous, and I mean, like that's the title of tonight's episode. It's literally there's nothing to smile about. I know, like we tried to make this fun and relatable, but this week with the surge in the murder and the terror of the people on the island, like what they're experiencing right now, it's not normal. It's not close to ever being Jamaica, no matter how people talk about crime and violence there. Like this is not something that we're used to seeing. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna take a quick little break. So listen into every word of this very fitting song until we come right back.
Do you see anything to smile about? Look at the stations. Do you see anything to smile about? No. Same time the brother said, how can the nation believe in this way? And the next thing him said, how can the government play so many games? Same time me heart fall to the ground, cause there's much more where that comes from. Certain place they are worse than slum. Youth man come and take a look on River Town. Do you see anything to smile about? Look on Pienland, yeah. Do you see anything to smile about? Tankers moving and suffering sights in the Spain. Do you see anything to smile about? What flats can tire mud down there all the same. Do you see anything to smile about? No.
No, 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 no. Oh, I'm not getting them. I'm singing tonight, but welcome, guys.
Going ahead.
Let's just jump right into it. I don't think they're ready for my title voice. Like I think one day we're gonna have to have like a little karaoke session because I have a good DJ voice.
You do.
But crime or COVID, like I don't know which one is more upsetting or which one to talk about first. So quick look up, because I know, Red, you love your facts and you love your numbers and you love your stats. I'm just gonna give them to you right off the top, and then we just react to it. So record daily rates in comparison to the past 2 years. This is what wave 4 of the COVID-19 has just been crazy. Like they're recording like 1,000 new cases a day. Like the positivity rate for people who are testing for COVID-19 is over 60% daily. When they clicked today's day 20. So on day 15 of the new year, there were over 40 murders that they recorded on the island, which is worrying to everybody. So now on the 20th, there's over 50 new murders. The government is basically silent on the matter. They have no control over what is happening. They are creating these things called special or zones of special operations for, the areas where the spike is more. So in Salvamore, Westmoreland, and Kingston. So there's so much going on. Like people are saying that the people who are in charge, the government, that all they're doing is a bag of chat, no action. And so as one person actually said that only Adams alone can calm down the people. And for those of you who don't know, Renita Adams is one of Jamaica's most fair crime fighters of all time. Like, he was a senior police officer there, and people are so fearful of him. If he was on a case, I feel like people would um, retreat more quickly than they are now to the current people who are, in charge of the crime fighting in the island. So, which one you want to talk about first, COVID or crime? Like, there's so much to talk
In
about.
my eyes, they're both valid talking points.
Right,
I feel like the COVID
right.
is
More controllable and predictable than the crime. Um, because at this point, I don't fear it anymore. I mean, it's
Uh-huh.
just a matter of when you're gonna get it, but at least the crime you can adjust, you can address, you can do something about it. And I think it starts first with the leaders of the country.
So, what do you think, though, about the
Um,
prime minister's response to the surges and increase? So, basically, he said that, given that there's a 60% increase in the positivity rate, he is not, irregardless of the health system being overburdened, irregardless of frontline workers, essential workers catching it more, because this new variant, like, we've all heard, it's not as deadly as the Delta, but it's more rapidly spreading. Like, the possibilities of you catching it faster, it's higher. And so he basically said that
I
he
mean,
will not be putting any more curfews or drastic measures in place. Like, nothing new will be implemented. So it's basically up to the citizens to take charge. He's like, go, where the vaccination sites are, go get vaccinated. So that's basically his response to this new dilemma. Is that bullshit or
I,
what?
I actually like his I actually like his bullshit. It is bullshit, but I actually like it. The reason I like it is because
Bullshit.
I
Can
mean
you?
this one might get a pass.
Okay.
I'm gonna explain why. Because last
Okay.
year, some point we had this conversation about more lockdown and curfews, and no one wanted it. Everyone wants to be free. I think people should start treating it like maybe like HIV. Like, it's something that you don't want to catch. You know. So don't bungle up. Don't go to fish fry Saturday, or diarrhea. Stay. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anyone wants more implement, or the government telling them they can only go out this day for 6 hours, and I don't think they want that.
Yeah, but nobody wants that.
So
But when you think about, like, the government, and I agree with you, nobody wants that. And so he's basically saying this from a place where he's like, well, when I gave you all the curfew, y'all complain. So I'm not going to give you any
hmm
curfew
hmm
anymore. I'm not going to put this, like, measure or this strong barrier, because, like, when I do that, you guys rebel. So now that he's giving them free reign, everybody is basically saying, well, he doesn't care about us. Like, how dare you see the upsurge in these cases, and, more cases than we've ever seen, and you're not doing anything. Like, how dare you? So,
that's it. See. I remember when people were complaining about they feel like prisoners, and I talk to my cousins and friends, and like, yo, man want to move, man want to touch the road, and now it's a different response. You can't please people. I think if you care about your life or your health, stay your ass at home or go get vaccinated if you think it works.
yeah, you can't please
You know.
people. But when you think about the, so there's not, uh, real like aggregate or good standing for us to say, okay, the vaccine is working in the way that they intended it to be, because people who are vaccinated are still catching it just as fast and more deadly as people who are not vaccinated. So his response was, you know where the vaccination sites are, you should just go ahead and get vaccinated. Mind you, when you think about the role and the function of a prime minister, it's basically, aside from, yes, managing, the civil service and executing what other directives of the head of state, is to save people from themselves. Like, people don't know, a lot of the people, especially that are living in the developing countries like Jamaica, then I know what good for them. You have to tell them sometimes. You have to basically, like, they elected you to look out for their best interest. They elected you to lead them at heart. So you can't be intimidated by these people when they come to you and push back at the measures and the
Well,
restrictions you put in place. You can't back down from them. And that is why,
well
and
let
I'm
let
going to
me
say
put
it's a great segue. Go ahead. I was
let
going
me
to say
play
that
devil's advocate here.
segue for the crime thing, because the same thing that the prime minister and the government is doing with the COVID, we're like, oh, people don't like this, so we're not going to do it. They don't like the curfew, so no more curfew. That's why they don't have no control over the fighting and the gang and nothing will happen in Jamaica, because they're afraid of people. How you for be a leader afraid of people? You're not a leader. Anyways, so what did I say?
no. I listen. I'm where I'm where I don't think you can do any wrong anymore. You know, and you as a voting person should see what the party that you voted in is delivering. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen crime this high in my lifetime.
That's
Like,
what I'm
to
saying.
jump
It's
the
not
year off,
new.
I think it was like 15 days, 75 murders, something like that. And it's like,
Right.
I know you said something about Renee Adams earlier. I think he might be scary these times, because these criminals look like they don't even have a heart. Like, the story about that little boy that got killed
Right.
in Westmoreland, that one was
Mhm.
like, I read that, I was like, I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense.
But this is what I am saying, though, if we want to like wrap up from the COVID portion of all of this, like, this is happening, like, all of this is happening in a time when this pandemic is still a real thing. Like, there is this upsurge in crime, there's this upsurge in the COVID cases, and people are treating them like they don't impact each other. Like, it's like, oh, there's COVID, and then over yesterday the crime, they're like, everything is happening at once, and it's all a trickle effect of the other. Like, people were locked up for this
It,
long time, can't work, they can't move around. And so when they started rebelling, for those who couldn't work or couldn't, earn their regular means of income, when they start to fight, thief, kill, all sorts of things, which probably spurred this upsurge with all the crime and violence.
I mean, I, I hear you, but once again, like, this is a like an eye-opening experience for everyone that's involved. Like,
The crime or the COVID?
both of them, you have to look to the people you elected, and see what they're doing. Um,
Yeah, but I'm
and
saying
I
that.
remember, I remember when I remember when election was out, whenever year it was, and just like it was in the middle of the pandemic too. Like, people were
Mhm.
out in forces. People were celebrating. Like, those people got to remember
Right.
what transpired before and what's going on now, and then what they're gonna do going forward. I mean,
Mhm.
it's hard to turn a ship when it's going off course. Um,
Right.
so I mean, and we're limited with resource back home, so it's a strain on the healthcare system.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think about it this way: I would like to be safe, so I try to stay my best away from anything that can get me in trouble.
Right.
That's the way I see it.
I mean, I hear you, but I also feel like this is just a bullshit. Like his response to the surges in the cases, it's not appropriate, it's not professional, it's not fulfilling his roles and responsibility as the elected prime minister of the country. I was listening to another press conference that I think it was broadcasted on the news a day ago or 2 days ago, where he literally said in the middle of the press conference, like, oh, the opposition party is saying that, or people are saying, where is the crime plan? There's no crime plan. And then he was like, duh, don't you think, like, who the, are you in high school? Are you in the third grade? Like, you literally come on national television and say, duh, like a third grader. What is that? Like,
First of all,
that
I'm in Jamaica. Stop.
I wish that I'm gonna find a way for us to insert that clip into our playback. The man literally said, duh. I was like, okay, you know what? Since you're in kindergarten and our lives and the well-being of my family that's still living there is in your hands, like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Well, enough about that.
I
That
I I rather see a strategy for the crime. The crime is a fixable. The COVID is it's gonna be around for a while. I am for a while. It's gonna turn into the new common cold or the new common
I'm
flu.
saying, the same strategy and approach as a leader, the same way he is acting, the same way that he is trying to
But
demonstrate
I mean,
leadership
I
and
think
authority dealing with one matter, it trickles into another matter that's more serious, that is the crime and violence now, because he has no control over what's going on. So basically his response, he is basically doing these like I mentioned earlier, like zones of special operations. It's almost like what Oprah said, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car today. So if somebody
yeah, but
dies in
but
St. Elizabeth, okay, zone of special operations. Somebody, what the frick is even a zone of special operations? What are people doing in these zones? Are there curfews? Are they monitoring? Are they walking around? You have soldier go through coming,
well,
like, what are you doing?
see the thing is, especially we need leadership. That's not gonna happen now. We have to ride out with this guy for now, and
So
then to
what we
fight
do?
crime,
Just
you
hold
have
a
to
one
nip in the
day.
bud.
So what we do in the meantime? Hold a one day and call it a day. What we do?
I mean, the people gotta protest. They gotta let their voice be heard. But this is who you up elected. You remember that? This is the same guy that called himself bro God. So how can you be surprised?
That's true.
Like that's that's like you meet your husband in a bar and you thinking he's not gonna be a alcoholic or a drinker. That you met him in a bar.
You're not playing fair. That's apples and oranges right there.
No, I mean this is the same guy that was riding around on Yang Yang talking about his clock's died and calling
Well,
himself bro
that's
God and
true. Like
you
you,
know
like the
I
child,
mean
that childish response.
like
That's true.
well he's pandering to the youth. That's the audience he's going for. He want to be cool.
He wants to be
So
cool, but
how can you be
cool doesn't
surprised now?
save lives. Cool
I
doesn't
mean
elect, implement policies and strategies for economic growth and
yeah,
for
but
health and
but
safety.
here's the thing. The people that's voting for him don't care about that. They just clear that you listen on one cartel and
They care
he's
now.
relatable.
I bet they care now.
Now they are,
I bet they care
but
now.
the people that All right, but the people that believe in politics, they're so short-minded and narrow-minded. My whole life, I grew up in being a PNP, and my grandma is still talking about the two sheet of zinc you get from Derek Rochester from the late 70s. Like that, that's how politics is. Like that's what they see. That's what
what people do.
That's what relate. Like yeah, that's
Yeah.
how that never changed. Who paved the road last? They don't think about what the plans they have or what they're gonna implement. You know.
And then, it all trickles back down to the ignorance and then the opportunities when it comes to education. Like, even if those policies, and they are available to the public for review and for, these are resources and access that the public has access to, but they wouldn't even understand what exactly all of it mean. Not everybody, but some of the ones who are complaining and saying this and that, like they can't interpret the first sentence.
Listen, Vision. There's some there's some big words in those plans, and even when you hear on the TV when they're talking about implementing and the strain and then like people are like, oh, what, huh?
Or the it's not digestible enough for the local layman person.
No,
That's something
all the
they need.
local person want to hear it. All the local person want to hear is road I go fix Kurgo at their headquarters, and then good.
Oh my God.
That's it.
I think one
That's
of
it.
the funniest things that I came across this week while reading up on this stuff is that the Jamaica Observer actually went into the streets and, because people were saying all sorts of stuff like we're talking about now, like, what they need to do, they're not doing nothing, is just no action and a bag of chat, and they need to do something. So they took to the streets and they said, okay, well, you share with us, you, the people of the street, since you're living in it, you're navigating it, you tell us what the crime fighting strategies should be. Like, tell us what you think the government should put in place to help us with this battle. If I laugh, I did, because one thing we know is that some Jamaicans may take nothing serious. And it's a reinforcement that Jamaica is not a real place when it comes to certain things. Because okay, I'm gonna just read out the top 5 that people said. One person said, one lady, and this was just hilarious. The lady said, and I quote, "She not think anything can be put in place because, as the Bible said, there's a time for everything, and there's nothing new under the sun." And no, she said, "No is the time for kill." I was like, "Excuse me, lady." No, it's the time to kill. So only Jesus alone can
Um,
intervention can help. I was
people
just
people like that end up with people like that end up with Kevin Smith. That's the kind of deal.
it's too bad Kevin Smith gone left her because the lady literally
Yeah,
knows the
that's
time to kill. I mean,
no, it's killing time.
one man said, plant some ganja, make the youth them make some money. Okay, sir. Okay.
It's a good suggestion.
That's his crime fighting strategy. One man said, seek Jesus first. Okay, sir. Yes, save your soul. Not so bad. There, this other man said, bring back the capital punishment. Because when these people thief
I
and
like that.
come back out, nothing no change. So they might come back out and do the same thing. So if there's this fear that if you do something or commit a certain crime, then you are definitely down for the capital punishment, that will, instill a sense of fear into people, and they would probably refrain from committing these heinous crimes that they've been committing. So he is going for capital punishment, and he's not the only one that said that. This
I was having this
uh-huh.
I was having this conversation with my mother how to fix it myself. And I told him there's two things. Well, not two things. I told her there's three things I need to do: increase the job sector, and if you get caught with an illegal gun, 30 years, and if you kill someone, the death penalty.
Okay. So a lot of people were saying idle hands, find things to do. Some don't want to work, all they want to do a thief. So creating more work to occupy their time would be a good solution. But this is what I am saying, and this is just me. And you tell me if this makes sense or not. Just thinking about when people feel like, oh, more jobs, more jobs, more jobs. The jobs that they're creating, number one, the minimum wage, that not doing anything for nobody. Number two, it can't be an issue of unemployment while people are killing. Because when I think about it, well, me don't know how much gun costs at Jamaica or bullet costs, but it can't cheap. Gun can't cheap and bullet can't cheap. Where am I getting the money from? So obviously they don't have money. Where am I getting the money from for buy then gun?
See,
Yeah.
so
Where money come from? Let's be
see, that's
honest.
the thing. That's the thing. Them youth and all this, they're lazy. That's just what it comes down to.
So
Just
it
think
can't be
about how much you see. Yeah, just think about how much you see on shop pays at daytime. Just think about that. That's the first thing. The second thing, I was reading an article and it was about a guy that they caught in Westmoreland that had 15 goat in his pro box. And I'm thinking to myself, like,
in goat or
have a
gun.
pro box. That goat, 15 goat, you have nine teeth. In teeth, have nine pro box. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if you can buy a pro box, why you go buy like a 20 head of goat or raise your own goat? We got drive and these people goat for like
Yeah.
like
So Pro Box is a
our,
car, right?
yeah, it's a
Oh,
car.
okay. I was
So
just checking. I'm like, is this a PlayStation? What the heck is that?
yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, like you can afford a car. Why don't you buy a 20, 40 head of goat and raise your own goat?
Like what Simone
Or
was
better yet,
Simone one Nissan Tida. You remember Simone and the co? Anyways.
yeah. So or even go get your PB plate or run taxi.
But this is what I'm
You
saying.
know, you know,
This goes to
you know
another
how hard it is to put 15 goat in a car.
how 15 good I must have Mr. Bean care or Colin care, how 15 good hold on one care.
No, I'm not. I'm serious. The
Are you
story was on Star. It was everywhere.
a kid? Yo, you literally just said it was on the star. That sound like something what would have
Hmm?
upon a star.
No, it was everywhere.
No, but I'm just saying, and that goes back to another issue for another topic. A lot, like you said, a lot of these guys are lazy now. Which, if you think about the dynamic of relationships where women are becoming more breadwinners, but because of the very disproportionate ratio of available straight men to women, women are now taking care of men who are lazy and sit down and want nothing because they fear that they might lose that man to another woman, and the the pickings out there are slim. But that's for another episode. We're not talking relationship tonight. We're talking COVID, government, and crime. But
Listen. Call me, yeah. If the boy not perform good, that's
but
all I have to say.
how much performance can you do? Because we are a whole let them now behave good. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm just saying.
Yeah, no. I only can make one person happy at a time. That's it.
That's what I'm saying, man. There's so much juice to go around. But
I'm too old for that multitask.
but another thing that irritates me when people just when they ask people, okay, what to do about the crime, and people say, oh, more jobs, because people are trying to survive, people hungry, people can't
That's
make
not
it.
gonna fix it.
I am just saying, no, when you look at the dynamics, these killings are not random, and it's not like the killings that we're hearing about are robberies or people in a supermarket are dead or they might shoot up supermarket or wholesale or
Well,
or bank. Like
if
we're talking about killings of 9-year-old. Like what are they gaining from this? Oh,
listen,
telling our folks that.
listen. I'm 30 plus, and I can never remember a time that I seen Saint Elizabeth in the headline of crimes this much in my life. Like that is a rare thing on our side.
Yeah.
Like that is a rare thing. Like on our side to see and to hear. So it's out of control. To me. Like, and the thing is, you
So much.
touched on it. Like bullets and guns are not cheap, especially in Jamaica.
Hmm. No,
And they're they're
especially if they're
they're
illegal.
blaming it on the trade, the drug for gun. Like I don't know how much drug and gun they're getting, but if I got my hand on an illegal weapon, the first thing I'd be buying it. I mean, I'd be selling it and doing something with the money.
This is what I'm just gonna say. Well, I should say this at the end. Like my dad told me something. I was having a conversation with my dad earlier today. Quite right before the episode, and we were talking about just bullshit that's happening. And he said to me, I thought it was the most hilarious thing. He said, "Never hold your fart in because it goes to your spine. It travels up your spine and into your brain, and that's when shitty ideas come." Oh my god! I have to share this with
Boy,
you. What? This is genius. Like this should be the bullshit tagline for a podcast. Like never hold your fart in. It travels up your spine, it goes to your brain, and that's when shitty ideas are formed.
See,
Laughing.
boy.
So that maybe that's what people in Jamaica are doing. They're holding their farts in. I don't know. Another thing that I looked at, because I'm like, it's senseless killing. Like you talked about that 9-year-old boy, that just break my heart. That just I can't
That's
even.
uncalled for. I mean, you
Right?
already. I think there's more behind it. I just can't. Can someone just can't look at a little 9-year-old kid? Like he's not gonna identify you. He's not gonna just
Mhm.
stop and kick him out and just keep it moving. You already have the car. Like
Yeah, but they didn't
to
even take the
me, I feel like there's
car.
more.
They didn't even take the car. They didn't take the car. They threw the mom out, kind of rough her up a little bit, drove down to some, area, killed the baby, and left the car and everything. They didn't steal anything. They didn't take anything. They just killed a nine.
That's what I'm saying. So I feel like there's more to that.
Okay. Well, moreover, too.
It just can't.
Go ahead.
Hmm?
No, go ahead.
I feel like there's more to it. Just like something we're not privileged to know, because
Right.
that someone just can't just wake up and think that
Like
like
killing a 9-year-old
don't care
baby.
how bad it is. Like
Right.
yeah, when you look at a little 9-year-old kid probably crying and just I feel like there's more to it.
There has to be more.
Like
But
maybe maybe it's a revenge act or a threat or send a message.
well, let's
You
talk
know.
about that video that I shared with you earlier where this guy was running from gunmen and he ran into a health center, a health clinic, and two men coming in there and went. If you not get 1 million gunshots, you not
Tree,
get. Listen,
international,
they pumped him
serious.
up. And I'm thinking in myself, no, what could that man have possibly done that three persons decide to empty for them gun in a man? And in a health clinic at that, like you don't have no regards for humanity, your morals, your principles, like your humanity is so detached that you normally back in the day, you'd say if man a bad man, then and you run go into a bank or a police station or a school or something. Yeah,
Church.
all right. We are sitting out the door, I'll wait upon him, in a edge him out then until he come out, because he must come out. Even if he set up and wait upon him to come out. They literally don't care. There's no respect. They went in there after the man with young people, old people, workers. It was bizarre.
It was there was something for coming to show.
No, when I
You
first
see
saw
that?
when I first saw the video, I said, then I want going to Indonesia. Literally, that's what I said. That's bad of me, but not in a million years. Me would have think that Jamaica that happened. So when I think my dad sent it to me when my dad said at some place up at Kingston Yard whatever, I was like, get the heck out of here. No.
It look serious.
It looked like a clip from a movie.
Like, it looked like a scene from a Vibes Cartel lyrics.
No.
That's what it looked like.
I don't know if I was saying it to you, but not even when you think about Batman in that show, not even Van Damme or Jackie Chan, none of them man that couldn't escape that they behavior they were.
They want try to climb on some chair and they pop it down.
But I mean, they didn't even care if they shot somebody else.
I found the first shot me and I found dead.
But you know, sister Al, when the man dead, they might empty the gun in him.
He get wet. He get wet the water.
Then done.
He done spring water. Clearly.
Oh my
Clearly.
God.
There's a lot more to that.
It's not.
There's a lot more to that story that we.
And I'm sorry we're smiling, guys, because it's literally nothing to smile about. But you have to take bad things, make jokes sometimes, because what the heck is happening, and the government is not doing anything about it. I don't even think that they're not doing anything about it. I don't think they even know what to do about it because they have no control. The gangs are.
I mean,
I
would like to hear like a starting point.
I don't know if it's a gang war. I don't know what it is. Like, are these like
that guy looked like he left his home to go buy half a pound of rice.
He left to go buy half.
I don't think he. That's what he looked like. He looked like he went to go buy half a pound of rice.
Right.
When he says I'll na bag again. One cup of I'll na bag. And two flash out. That's what he looked like. Yeah, that's what he looked like. He left his house to go to that. That guy did not look like he part of no gang war because he was not prepared for the road ahead. He looked like
Him look
he looked like he never run up
shoes and I run.
Yeah, he looked like that.
He plus up a man.
Him look like he looked like he left his house with a pot intention. Like, it's not in the aisle. Let me run go to the road, yeah.
That makes sense.
It's sad though.
But do you think these are contract killings? Somebody said that, and I started to think, well, the severity and the they sound like some contract killing, but what could people really be hiring people to kill people for?
I mean, the first time I heard that phrase is when that teacher lady died in St. Elizabeth. Like, that was, baby father contract killing. That was the first time I heard that phrase. And it seemed to be a common thing now where people say, yo, you can hit a man for dash out a man for 10 grand, 12 grand. And I'm like, that cheap? Like,
you know what I also think the issue is? Like, this shouldn't be political. Like, I feel like the party that's in power right now, they're just saying, oh, how much more they're doing than the party that was in power, and vice versa. Like, this shouldn't be a political fight. Like they shouldn't be addressing this from a political perspective. Like this is a freaking nation thing happening. Like they should be working together.
Well, I'm not the one for politics, but I can say we got a good run with PJ. That we got a good run.
I'm just saying, like something needs to be done, and I don't think these zones of special operations are
It's a waste of
working.
time.
It is a waste of time because it's just a
I
name that
mean, all right.
like, it sounds fancy. People
I
don't
mean,
even know
but think
what.
about it. I think about it. If you got some badness going in the area, and they
Mhm,
say them are moving for a month, you
mhm.
just calm your ass down for a month, and soon as they're gone, you know, back to normal. Like
Yeah, but the Jamaica's justice system is so broken. There are no consequences for
it's
whatever.
broken at the bottom to the top. Like it needs a whole new reform, like just a whole new overhaul.
But you know what's also shocking? And I don't know if I would say shocking, but I was just appalled when I heard it. So, of the crimes or the murders that happened in 2021, 26 of the people who committed these crimes were juveniles.
Yeah,
I'm talking about like picking
that's
age
the norm.
16 and these are the
That's
people
the
who
norm.
are
That seemed to be.
before courts answering for gun violence and murder and all of these stuff. Like they should be in school. What the heck?
And I wish there's a way for us to cancel them, but they're gonna get 15 to 20 and out in 12 on probation. Back to doing the same thing. They're 32 doing the same thing.
Yeah, because they don't know anything
So I
more.
mean, that's it.
Me hope when they go
That's
out,
it.
that them and their parents go, because somebody has to
I don't know
be
if you're.
accountable.
I don't know if you ever seen Scare Straight on TV. I think we should get a program like that in Jamaica.
No,
You get 20, but
what is that about?
huh?
What is you said
It's where
scared?
they take like yeah, it's like where they take juveniles or
Mhm.
like kids from the juvie center and bring
Right.
them to like prison so they get like the prison experience.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've seen something like
Yeah, yeah. So I think Jamaica should have like a program like that here.
that.
Maybe spend a week at GP, like just
Listen, I don't think that would scare these Jamaicans because they have this glorification of badness. They're not afraid of nothing. They're not back down them tough. And then a lot of our music doesn't really help either. You
I mean, you
Tommy
can't blame music.
Lee,
You can't. You
it's
can't. I mean,
I can't blame it. I'm not blaming it so
no.
it
That's
plays a part. It does play a part. It's influential. Like, do you realize how much of an impact our culture has through our music? It's 90%
listen.
music. I could be in a bad
I listen
mood
a
and
lot of
start jamming.
Celine.
Yeah.
I listen. Listen. I listen to a lot of Celine Dion. I'm still not a good lover. So I don't know if music works. I don't know if it works like that.
That's because it's coming from a girl. Like if it was a man telling you, you would listen. What about Michael
Mm,
Bolton?
now listen to Romain Virgo.
Ah,
I'm still,
love him. Pick up yourself, Virgo. Love him.
it's still, it's still. I don't think. I mean, it's something, but I don't think it's a. I mean, if that's the case, like everybody want to be a cowboy and Indian growing up. That's the only cowboy Indian movie you watch, like a
Yeah.
karate movie. I mean, it just. I think it contributes because it reinforces it, but
Right. Like
I
it,
don't
it
think.
does.
I don't think. I don't think it's a dominant factor, but it wouldn't help if there's a little more peace and up love in it.
Well, all I'm gonna say is that I am calling bullshit on the way that the government, the present government right now, is handling both the upsurge in the COVID-19 cases and also the upsurge in the crime and violence. Because, listen, yes, I hear you that you've put measures in place with the vaccine and people need to go get vaccinated, but you are not elected to just serve the vaccinated and the people who are, you know, jumping and doing everything that you say. You were elected to represent the people. And so that means, as stubborn and as hard as it is to get through to all of them, you have to put measures in place to accommodate everybody. You can't just select who you're going to be a prime minister for. You have to be a prime minister for everyone. If the burden is too much for you to bear, step down and give somebody that has bigger hands and bigger shoes to do the job.
Well, let me ask you a question. You think he's gonna get the next term?
No, say if he does, I can't say yes and I can't say no, because the last time when he won, I never thought that he deserved or should, and he won by a good majority. So who knows?
A
He might get
landslide.
another term, but I feel like people would be batshit crazy if they decide to elect this man for another term. His nose get bigger and belly get bigger and what else and more separation. I don't even want to get into that, but I'm real honest and relatable. I know a lot of you are thinking the same thing, so don't come for me and check yourself before you wreck yourself. 'Cause I will.
Well, I I don't know. I think after seeing all this and the upsurge and everything,
Hmm.
and looking around for answers, I think they gotta realize that it has to be a change. Like, stop voting for parties. Start voting for for policies. All right. Let's go for what's best. Not.
And this might be an oversimplification of the Jamaica Labour Party, but the way that this prime minister, um, and I'm not being biased, but the way that this prime minister has been treating, you know, his cabinet, the way that he is so quick to shift things around, that it doesn't seem that much thought has been given. Like something happened and then he reshuffles the entire cabinet, which he did last Sunday. It's almost like, oh, you are Minister of Agriculture, but somebody complains about this. Okay, and I'm going to put you in Ministry of Health, and you have no
Health.
experience. And you know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? Fertilize the people? Like, the way that he does it is almost like, oh, I'm going to rearrange my closet today because I didn't like how my red shirts look beside my white one. Like, you're dealing with people's life, people's livelihood. Like, people elected you to make sure that their well-being, their finances, their education, like everything is taken care of. It's being overseen by somebody who is supposed to be more experienced and more capable than I am. That is why I elected you. But instead, I am getting like the shitty end of the stick. Like, the kids are not being educated. They're 2 years behind. Dunce as fuck. I'm just gonna say this. Half a Jamaican picking them right now couldn't pass grade 4 literacy test. Just saying. No money, no job, there's no future for people. Like, he talked about something about, the way that the economy is going in terms of more technologically advanced jobs in the next 2 to 3 years. Like, people who have simple jobs, like, say, for example, who make appointments for doctors, like, we're not going to need you because Google and Alexa and all of those, artificial intelligence can make that appointment. Like, so those jobs will be replaced by technology. So his comment was basically, the less skill you have, the less chance you have of getting a job, and not what are we going to be putting in place to get these people trained and brought up to speed with the technology or something else that they can do when the technology replaced these simple jobs that they've been doing for years. Can you imagine the woman would sit down people down at Dr. Thames? All right, you know, oh God. Hello, here comes Alexa. I'm just, I'm just gonna leave it as it
I don't,
is.
I don't think we reached that part of the story yet. We we have a while to go in our home country before we get that technical. We're probably like 25 years behind the rest of the first world.
No,
We need to catch up first.
I think it's coming really fast. I think so. I think in
I don't think so.
3 to 5 years. Yep.
I don't think so. I think that's about 15 years out, to be honest. I
Well,
think
somebody did say, and I guess I'll leave that until the end, that the biggest crime that you can commit in the Caribbean is to not saying good morning in a Jamaican household. What do you think about that? The biggest crime that you can
morning.
in the Caribbean is not saying good morning in a Jamaican household.
Morning is very important. I
Yeah,
need a
teach
good morning. I get up. I need a good morning. Like what? I
Mhm,
need a good morning for my daughter. I need a good morning for my wife. I need a
mhm.
good morning for anybody. You have to
Yeah,
have a
this is
morning.
the first thing that you say. Like when you're seeing somebody or talking to somebody for the first time, like that's what you say. Unless you want to hear, yeah, the
You,
mother, you get sounded, make you something for bath what? Hell broke loose, yeah, no.
you don't you don't get that here.
Oh, hell no. Mm-mm.
You don't get that here. Very rare. It's always off guard when someone's morning to you here. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
huh?
Literally.
Talking to me?
Even like
You
in
talking
my
to me?
job with my coworkers, like they will just randomly send me an email or text, and I'm like, "Well, good morning," and they're like, "Oh, sorry, good morning." And I'm like, "How would you not think at 8 o'clock, at 8:30 in the morning, when you're addressing me, you should not say good morning first? Like, man, asleep last night, man, never wake up this morning. Hell,
Even when we sleep last night, I need a good morning.
it
Very crucial. A
is
good
very,
morning is very crucial.
my
You know,
heart.
good night is just as crucial.
Uh-huh. My heart breaks for my country right now. Like my heart breaks for the people who are working so hard and still having to, deal with this stuff, or the people who can't afford to stay home. They have to go out there every day and pray that they come back home safe to their loved ones, to pray that, their kids go to school and come back home safe. Like, either not contracting coronavirus or not getting gunned down or robbed or chopped up, or my heart breaks for all of it. And
All right, let me ask you a flip question.
okay.
What about people like us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who have the opportunity to leave and start something, but never go back and never contribute to the country.
What do you
Like,
mean
there's so
never?
much brilliant Jamaicans outside. There's so much. So that I'm sure you know a couple,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody does. There's so many brilliant Jamaicans outside of Jamaica. Like some that leave for university and run off, never to go back. Some who migrated. You know,
I want to go
someone
back. I
you
want
know
to
me
go
can't go
back.
on. Me can't go on. Me can't go on and place it too much crime, too much this, the health system, the ruin. You know, what about those people? What's your thought on those people? Like
That
the
could
people
be, and
that
that could
can
be a whole,
drive.
and that could be a whole episode
Hmm?
in itself. I think that should
Hmm.
be our next episode. We have less than a minute to go on this one, but I personally feel like those people are not, they don't have enough ties to Jamaica. They're that
No, no,
brain
no, no,
drain
no,
that.
no, 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 no. But no, no. First of all,
And
those are the first people. You know, the first people when the Olympics start will come out in the Jamaican sweatsuit and the
of course,
headband and
they're so patriotic.
they fully Jamaican.
Yep, that's so true.
Cause
That is so true. But
those what about those people? We
that's
save it for next one,
a good
right?
segue to enter into next week, right? But and that's the end of our live hour. But just before we wrap up, and thank you guys for tuning in. We did promise you last week that we would talk about what Clarendon was famous for, and I was not wrong. The Milk River Bath is in Clarendon, so I got that correct.
Okay.
Jamaican.
Obia.
No, nobody knows nothing about Obia. Every time I Google Obia at St. Thomas. St. Thomas.
Okay. Well, how about bartender in St. Elizabeth?
Oh,
You have
they
to
came
favor
from
to that.
Clarendon. They came from Clarendon. All the bartender and them there St. Elizabeth come from Clarendon. But I will say this, guys. Thank you so much for staying with us tonight, for tuning in for our raw, honest, and relatable conversation. We will be back next Thursday to talk about, and now you have a preview of brain drain on the country and the people who can actually make a difference, but they choose not to. And what are their
The
intentions?
turncoat.
Say what?
Turncoat.
Turncoat? Yeah. So we'll definitely, you don't want to miss that next week. So tell your cousin and tell your mama to tell her cousin to come chat with us next week. This is Cousin Smishy V and Cousin
Red. Good night.
Good night. I was signing off. Love you and stay safe.